And then, if you'll indulge me for just a couple moments to give the super shortest, briefest intro to what art and feminism is. So, this is Kira speaking, and Art and Feminism is a nonprofit organization in the US, but we work with a global community of activists that's committed to closing the gaps related to gender, feminism, and the arts, beginning with Wikipedia. So, Art and Feminism's core initiative is our annual global edit-a-thon. It's a do it yourself and do it together campaign that empowers people of all gender identities to edit and organize in the Wikiverse. And so what we're excited about doing like today and in general with art and feminism is really focusing on Wikidata and recognizing fully that structured data may not sound super sexy, but it is the base of Wikipedia. It is what feeds and trains AI and smart technologies. So when the data is incomplete, it has ripple effects across the entire internet and our consumption of knowledge. What we really need is feminist data to be able to tell those feminist stories. And so last week we had a program called Archives, Memory, and the Power of Data. It was a conversation with Savannah Wood, who is the executive director of Afro Charities, which is the longest running African American newspaper in the US, in conversation with Terry Henderson, who is a curator and arts writer and also on the board of Art and Feminism. The conversation explored the importance of archives, and today we're carrying that conversation into practice because together we can ensure that information is more inclusive, more reliable, and more feminist. And so we are so delighted today and honored to be partnering with Wikimedia Deutschland for today's program. To really kind of give us an intro into Wikidata and to kind of tie it into how this works with archives. And so with that, I am going to hand it over to Camillo and Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kira. Please allow me to share my screen very quickly. Sorry, I've got so many tabs open. I need to look for the right one. Got it. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Once I click the slideshow mode, I think I probably can't see everyone. So before I do that, just let me give a quick thank you. Thank you, Kira, as well as everyone for being here today, for joining us in the next coming 3 hours or so. Yeah, I just had 2 hours of back-to-back meetings, so I'm a bit, and I sincerely apologize if, I mumble, if I say something does not make sense. Feel free to, excuse me and for this. So let me off my video, then I go into slideshow mode because in case I do something unsightly when I'm in the presentation mode. All right. Yeah, today's topic is Introduction to Wikidata and Archives. And I want to start this off by just, having a quick snapshot, asking one of the chat model, Mistral AI, on how many female artists are there in Wikidata. And according to Mistral AI, where we have connected our Wikidata MCP, which is our model context protocol. I will share this a bit more later. There are 24,000 female artists in Wikidata. And I asked another second question, how many male artists are there in Wikidata? And there are 44,000 male artists in Wikidata. So we'll elaborate more about this little tool later on. But I just want to, us to be aware that you can see that there's a gap in the number of female artists in Wikidata as compared to the male artists, and a lot of work has to be done to bridge this gap overall. So I will let Camillo introduce himself very quickly, and then I'll introduce myself. Camillo?
Yeah, so this is Camillo speaking. I am Camillo Pellizzari, PhD student in classics, but today I'm here because I am since 2012 an editor of the Wikimedia projects, starting with Italian Wikipedia and then now mainly active on Wikidata and also a few other Wikimedia projects. And I'm particularly active on Wikidata in the interconnection between Wikidata and libraries. Also, I do many things with universities. Recently, also, I am editing other Wikibase instances. I do often trainings for university students and librarians and workshops, publications, and a wide range of things surrounding Wikidata and Wikibase. And back to Alan.
Thank you, Camillo. Yeah, Camillo is a long-time volunteer, and we are very thankful and grateful that he's able to support us in providing this training for today. My name is Alan Ang. I'm the Senior Partner Manager for Wikidata at Wikimedia Deutschland or Wikimedia Germany. My main responsibility is to connect with global institutions, organizations, and communities and onboard them into Wikidata and Wikibase. I'm also one of the founding members of the Wikimedians of the Singapore user group. I'm a Singaporean myself. I'm living in Berlin, Germany for the past 10 years or so. Just to give you a quick overall of what's going to happen in the next couple of hours or so, I will give a very brief introduction about Wikidata in the next 15 minutes or so, and then I'll hand over to Camillo, who will lead us in the editing Wikidata component, which will take about 90 minutes. And then I will conclude with some updates on what is happening in the world of Wikidata for about 15 minutes or so. In between, if and when any of you feel like taking a break, going to make yourself a cup of coffee, tea, or go for some comfort break, just go ahead. This whole session, I understand from Kira, will be recorded. So, you can always come back and relook at some of the points that you've missed also. Okay, without much further ado, I've got 50 slides here, so and that's like less than 45 minutes. So let me just start very quickly. I'd like to talk about link open data ecosystem and Wikidata for some of our participants here who are joining us for the first time, for Wikimedia projects. Sir Tim Berners-Lee has a 5-star open data model where, on the first star, it says that you make your stuff available on the web, whatever format, under open license, and this is like a 1-star open data model. And you get 2 stars if you make it available as a structured data, for example, as an Excel format instead of an image scan of a table, right? And once you make your data or information available in a non-proprietary open format, for example, CSV instead of Excel, then you achieve a 3-star. And of course, 4 stars if you use URIs to denote things so that people can then point towards the things that you put and you share. And 5-star is the linking your data to other data to provide context. The reason why I start this off is because we're talking about link open data and we want to encourage the ecosystem to flourish and to achieve the 5-star open data model. In Wikimedia Germany, we have our link open data vision where we work towards a future in which people, right, very important, people share the power to collect and organize data that would shape humanity's understanding of the world. So we are not here to say, Wikidata is the world's largest knowledge graph for open data and structured data, and we want every data in the world. No, we really want to encourage communities globally to share data and organize data that will shape humanity's understanding of the world. And we also want to proactively reach out to communities which are diverse around the world to participate in Wikidata, as well as in a network of specialized Wikibases. I will explain more what Wikibase is later on, to co-create an open and free global knowledge graph in a thriving link open data web. And this is the basis upon which people, companies, and institutions of all sizes can generate new insights, build new apps and services, and change the world for the better. I like to start this because it gives everyone a very good perspective and understanding of why we do what we do at Wikimedia Germany and why we are so passionate about bringing Wikidata into different parts of the world. So we believe that as custodians and curators of the human knowledge and culture, GLAM institutions, projects, And Wikimedia projects, not only Wikidata, but Wikipedia, as well as other projects as well, we're natural allies in this free knowledge movement. And we are so happy that every one of you taking your time off to join us today, and to see how we can collaborate even further. So Wikidata is one of the largest Wikimedia projects, right? The data in Wikidata is used in a lot of technology that you use and you see every day, which you may not know that they come from Wikidata. The other thing to note is that all the data in Wikidata is available under CC0 license. What this means is that anyone is free to use and reuse Wikidata's data without attribution. And what this means is also that there's so many projects out there globally that has been reusing Wikidata's data without us knowing because of this license as well. And the data in Wikidata, very importantly, is made for humans and machines. It is multilingual, like all Wikimedia projects. We support, I think, about 300 languages, if I'm not wrong, if my memory serves me right. And of course, like all Wikimedia projects, we are collaborative. Anyone is free to edit Wikidata's data. And it is a free and open knowledge graph. Just a quick overview of the few numbers we have here. Wikidata was launched in 2012, 29th October. So if you join the greater Wikidata community, if you join our Telegram group, as well as various channels, every year, 29th October, we will celebrate Wikidata's birthday together, and we can see a very vibrant community, very happy sharing and celebrating Wikidata's birthday. And as of January this year, there were more than 120 million structured data pages, including items, I think 118 million items, properties, and lexims. So it is really, really huge, and they are free and open. And the interesting thing about Wikidata is that it is the most edited Wikimedia project, right? With around 25,000 active editors in Wikidata. Fun facts, right? The goals of Wikidata is that we work together to give more people more access to more knowledge. We want to keep Wikidata as a free and open knowledge base that can be read and edited by both humans and machines. We want to provide support inside and outside of the Wikimedia projects, and we also want to provide a freely usable repository and a hub for linked open data. These goals are essential because they help to direct us in how we plan our work and what kind help us to prioritize the activities that we do as well. So as you see, Wikidata is the structured data knowledge graph that is behind for many Wikimedia projects, including especially Wikipedia as well as Wikimedia Commons as well. So a quick example of a use of Wikidata in Wikipedia. If you go to a small language Wikipedia article, for example, in this case, Maya Angelou, you will see that on the right side, there's this info box on the right, apart from the article, the body of the article in itself, and this info box on the right, if you scroll down, you will be able to see that, this nice snapshot information comes from Wikidata. And this Maya Angelou will have a corresponding item in Wikidata, which is then reflected in this info box. So an example of an item on Wikidata is this, right? So every item on Wikidata, for example, has an item label. In this case, it's Maya Angelou. And every item has a unique queue number. We call it item identifier. In this case, for Maya Angelou, the queue number is Q19526. And if you create an item on Wikidata, it's always a good practice. Camillo will tell you later on, to have an item description, because two items can have the same label, but they can be different things, right? For example, the Diary of Anne Frank, it can be a book, it can be a movie, or it can be another work of art as well. So therefore, it's always good to have an item description below the item label so that users will be able to identify clearly which item is the one that is more meaningful to them. And of course, every item, not every item is an alias, but some items, especially human names of people, they will have aliases. And if you know the name of aliases or the aliases of the item label, you can also feel free to put it there. Yeah. And if you see this this big box here, we call it term box. This enables you to include the item label in different languages that you are familiar with or you are able to contribute. And of course, it's also nice to put a description there. In this case, Maya Angelou in English, the item label in English, description is an American poet and author. And you have it in German, in French, in Bavarian, as well as many, many other languages as well. If you click this nice blue button here that says all entered languages. So far, it's okay, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you. So the data on Wikidata is structured in a triple structure format. What does this mean? It means that it's modeled according to, for example, there's an item identifier, and then there's a property and there's a value. So the property and values, they're part of this category called statements. Don't worry if all this terminology seems a bit overwhelming to you, but you can always look back at this and just go through this. You don't have to memorize them for sure, but it's just that you have these are the terms so that you will be able to articulate them correctly if you do want to talk about some of the what is the item identifier, what's the queue number, stuff like that. And you also understand what we mean when we say what's a property and what is a value, because in the editing section later on, you will be able to make sense. It becomes clearer to you. So yes, so every item on Wikidata is modeled in the triple structure according to there's a QID, right? Item identifier. There's a property and a corresponding value. In this case, Maya Angelou has a queue number of Q19526. Right? And this is unique to this particular item label. And within the statement, there are multiple properties. And this property that we see here is a property instance of, and the corresponding value is human. What is interesting is that this corresponding value of human is also another item in Wikidata. So, and this property instance of is actually a very I think it's a must-have property when you first create any item in any item, because it helps you to differentiate between Maya Angelou in this item. Is it a human, or is it Maya Angelou as a book, a written works, or Maya Angelou as a movie, as a film? So then it helps you to differentiate the different items on Wikidata. Not only just the property of instance of as a very fundamental, important property that we should always have, right, in any item. There's also you can also add different properties as well as different values and different information. We call them qualifiers or references, in the different values as you begin to make your edits or as you begin to look into the items of Wikidata. For example, in this Maya Angelou's case, not only as the instance of a human that we saw earlier on, there's also a property that you can also include. Let's say if you know the award received, right? So Maya Angelou has received an award by the National Women's Hall of Fame, and this is the corresponding value to this property. However, it does not really give a lot of meaning if you just put National Women's Hall of Fame. So it's always a good practice to say, okay, we know that she received the award in 1998, and it's always good to put a qualifier to say the point in time of when received the award is 1998. And if you know the website or the source of where you get this information from, is always a good practice to put a reference qualifier as well, and then you can put a reference URL. You can copy and paste the link to the source of the information. You can see here on the right side. I'm not sure if my mouse is showing. I can't see my screen in Zoom, but there's a right side that says add reference. Just click this add reference, and you will be able to add the references. So it also helps in the in ensuring that the quality of the data on Wikidata are properly referenced and also notable as well. So as I mentioned earlier on, that every value, corresponding value to a property in the statement is also another item in Wikidata. Don't get confused by what I just said earlier on. Just let me show you what it means. For example, the item Maya Angelou Q19526, as we have seen earlier on, is an instance of a human. And human is also another item in Wikidata with the Q number Q5. And then we also saw earlier on the property of an award received by National Women's Hall of Fame with a QID 1967852. So National Women's Hall of Fame is also another item on Wikidata. And of course, you can also add more information and data about Maya Angelou if you know, like for example, the place of birth, and there's also another corresponding value, Maya Angelou's spouse with another corresponding value as well. So in this case, maybe you have realized that, oh, wow. So if I create one item on Wikidata and then I create multiple statements through the properties and the different corresponding value is also another item in Wikidata. Wow, so that means all the items are linked to each other. And this is absolutely correct. And this is why Wikidata is such an interesting and fantastic thing we call knowledge graph, because every item in Wikidata is linked and connected to each other and called linked data. So in summary, Wikidata is made of items, for example, Maya Angelou, like I have mentioned earlier on, and every item has a random, a unique Q number that is being assigned to it. For example, Q19526 for Maya Angelou, and a triple structure is used to model data on Wikidata, as we have seen earlier on. The triple structure is item, property, and value, and every value is also another item in Wikidata, and hence, therefore, the different items are connected and linked to each other. And not only that, you can also provide and add additional detail to the different statements through qualifiers and references to improve the quality of the data, especially in notability, as well as to make sure that other users can also refer back and update the references if the references and sources are updated, right? And the items are linked to each other as well as places in other databases and catalogs. If you later we have a chance to take a look at it when we do the editing part, you can also go all the way down. You can go and create external identifier property, and then you can link your institutional catalog, the items in your catalog to the Wikidata for the particular item, and then all the items are therefore interconnected, and hence the name link data. So what is interesting is that the Wikidata is run on this software called Wikibase. However, if you say that, wow, Wikidata is so big and huge, and there's so many different properties, and it's modeled in a way where I'm very, I do not know how to be able to do it properly. I scared it will break or something. If you have your own way of modeling your data and you want to have your own little mini Wikidata, we also have the software called Wikibase that you can actually host your own little mini Wikidata, right? We have got two products. The first is Wikibase Cloud, which is hosted service for free and open projects. And the second is Wikibase Suite, where you can download the Wikibase software and then you host in your own server. So Wikibase Cloud, as you can understand from the name, is you don't host it in your own local server, but Wikibase Suite, you can host it on your own local server. I put the link here. So if you would like more information about Wikibase software, how to use it, want to try it, feel free to click on the link, and then you can go and check it out later. But if you see the image on the right side here, if you have your own little Wikibase instance, I say little because most people want to have and play around with it, but we do have many big Wikibase instances out there in the world, where different institutions, they host millions of items in Wikibase, in the Wikibase instance, and then the different items are all interconnected to each other, right? So you can see that Wikidata is the largest Wikibase instance in the world. And then you have other Wikibases, right, on different topics. You have global institutions with their Wikibase instances. You have got, folks from the digital humanities space, in the research institutes who are also playing around and hosting their own servers, hosting their own Wikibase to model their own collection of the data, their data set. You have got government institutions, who also have their own Wikibase instances, where they put their own government statistical data on it, for example. So many different kind of users of the Wikibase software, and they're all interconnected, and this is why we call it the link open data vision. Just for your information, Wikibase software is also free and open for you to use. You don't have to pay anything or to or incur any cost in having your own Wikibase software if you want to have your own little mini Wikidata. Also, a point to add: once you have your own Wikibase instance, you are free to create your own property. So you are not tied down by the list of properties that's available, constrained by the properties on Wikidata. So, which means to say you're free to model your own, your own data in the way that you want. So I've also added a resource part here. If you want to do your own, introduction or training about Wikidata, there's also a resource from the Wikimedia Foundation's training libraries. You can also click here. By the way, this presentation deck is on Wikimedia Commons and is shared on our Meta page for this particular workshop. Yeah. Okay. So far, just let me take a quick look in the chat to see if everyone is okay. Thank you, Camillo, with sharing some of the things for the. Thank you. Okay, so I thought it would be interesting to share some use cases with everyone here, right, on how Wikidata is being used by some of the archives institution globally. I just brought 2 use cases today that is probably you may or may not heard of them, and I purposely chose them from different parts of the world, so that you have some kind of understanding. The first one use case I want to share is this archive by the Hong Kong Baptist University. They have a Chinese news clipping database where they hosted about 200,000 historical Chinese news clippings entries. So I put the link here. You can click on it and you can see. It started in 2021, and they have been contributing data to Wikidata in the way that it's a digital metadata of the newspaper clippings archive. So they have created an item on Wikidata called the Chinese newspaper clipping database, and they have contributed as of now about 58,000 data items to Wikidata, and all these are done by one staff. Yeah, we are totally understanding of the different institutions globally, the lack of resources and manpower on doing things like this. So just want to share that, one staff has been working on it, and very interesting. And the reason why I was speaking to the cataloger, I was speaking to the project owner as well, why they want to do this, right? Because what they told me is that because when they have it in their own system, their users, mainly the researchers who are accessing the library's materials, the database and the archives, are not able to have a very nice visualization when they want to make queries on the database, on the data set. So when they put it on Wikidata, the users will be able to make queries on Wikidata, and also visualize it in a way where it's meaningful to them, right? Some of the questions that will be interesting for the researchers is, for example, what is the geographical spread of news clipping sources? And as you can see, once they visualize it on Wikidata using the Sparkle query, you can see it very nicely, and the researchers are very happy with being able to do this. And they are also able to make queries on Wikidata on, for example, which publishers are no longer in business. And then they can see that, okay, so these are the publishers, Chinese publishers, which are no longer in business. Yeah. So this is why the library, Hong Kong Baptist University Library, really enjoys working with Wikidata. So the second use case that I want to share with regards to example of archives is this project called the 20th Century Press Archives Project. So it started in 2018, and I think it ended about 2024. I've linked to the project page here. So essentially, it's a data contribution project where historical press archives of the ZBW institution in Germany where they have millions of press clippings and other materials about persons, organizations, wares, events, general subjects. And it is arguably the world's most comprehensive public press archives in the 20th century. So the PM20 metadata is integrated into Wikidata with the objective of trying to link all the folders of the collection to Wikidata to provide access to sources, to Wikimedia projects, as well as to the general public, as well as add metadata from the folders, for example, the person's birth dates, and link to the Wikidata items. So the project itself has an external, they created an external ID property. External ID means external identifier, and the property is what I've mentioned earlier on in the property, called PM20 folder ID. As you can see here, it says P4293. So it's not a Q number. Q number are for the items in Wikidata. So P number stands for the property in Wikidata. So P4290, right? So it was proposed to link PM20 person and company folder, as when they proposed this property. So, and then the project itself created a catalog, they upload the mix and match, which is another external tool on Wikidata. And then, 60 volunteers contributed to the reconciliation of the data on Wikidata with the catalog via mix and match. For example, in terms of persons, you have 5,266 folders with more than 6,000 statements sourced in the PM20. If you make a query, you will be able to see that these are the different results, as you can see via this project. Not only about persons, but also countries as well, subject archives, that contains all the countries and subcontinents with more than 9,200 folders that's digitally accessible. And I've put here two screenshots. This is the, on the right side is the ZBW press archives, how it looks like if you query, search Japan, the item Japan in the archives, and then the corresponding item Japan in Wikidata is also being shown here. So it's all connected. As you can see, there's a logo of a Wikidata and a Wikipedia here. And interestingly, all this effort and work were done by one staff from the institution in itself. And the reason why I put a number of staff here when I share my use cases is because I also want to inspire, different users and institutional users that, yes, we know that resource is a constraint, but it's doable if there's a will to do it, right? Yeah, correct. And we are happy to support as well in ways that's possible. Some of the other resources that I also want to share when it comes to Wikidata, as well as members from the archives community, is that there are wiki projects as well in Wikidata. We have the Wiki Project Archives Link Data Interest Group that I think may be interesting to share. Let me share this tab. So I click on the link and it just brought us into this tab, right? So the Archives and Link Data Interest Group composed of archivists, archives data specialists, programmers, data experts, come up with exploring different approaches to publishing the linked data. So if you're interested, you can always come and join this project group. And not only that, there's also the Wiki Project Archival Description, Wiki Project Heritage Collection. Also, one of the projects I'm very interested in is the Wiki Project, the PCC Wikidata Pilot Project, the cooperative program for cooperative cataloging. Let me see. Yeah, so there's a lot of members in the community. They come together to exchange ideas, notes, as well as experiences on how to link their projects with Wikidata. Okay, so far we've been talking about items on Wikidata, and this is just a very brief overview and description. There's also the part called lexicographical data in Wikidata that I also want to highlight to everyone. The reason is because, is it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Yeah, I was in another meeting I was in another meeting in UK, and then was it UK? I can't remember. Sorry. And I was in another meeting, and then there were also participants who were from the who were working on lexims and languages, the corpus of the texts, they archive this, and they had a question of, okay, where and how can we share this, how and where can we put this on the link open data web, because we're working specifically with languages. So I begin to share that there's also lexicographical data on Wikidata. Just a quick overview, in 2001, Wikipedia was launched, and 2012, Wikidata was launched. And then on 2018, lexicographical data on Wikidata was launched. So it's a fairly young project. Before 2018, Wikidata was only describing concepts. Now it also includes words. What's the difference between what we have been talking about and lexicographical data on Wikidata? For example, excuse me, if you go to Wikidata, you just search the word mouse. In Wikidata, it's actually a concept where it shows you a species of a mammal, the taxon name, the average size, even show you a picture of mouse, as well as give you the link to the catalog in the Encyclopedia of Life ID, for example. But if you go to lexicographical data section of Wikidata, if you search for lexim mouse, you will see that, okay, wow, mouse is actually a language in English language. Right, you will see that the lexical category is a noun. It is not a verb, right? It's a noun, and then the plural form of mouse is actually mice, and it shows you the different contexts of this lexim mouse. And if we're lucky, you will even be able to have a audio pronunciation of mouse and how to pronounce mouse. As mouse. Yeah. In the English language, of course. So you can also contribute to the lexim mouse in other languages, in a language that you're familiar with, if it's not already there on Wikidata, and you're very welcome to do so. So I just show you, this is how it looks like. I just took screenshots because, in case usually live demo would always have problems. So if instead of looking at Maya Angelou earlier on how an item looks like Wikidata, lexim Tokyo, for example, a lexim item on Wikidata doesn't have a QID, but it's an LID. Let me see, it's called L13218, right? And you can see EN here means this actually a language, is in English, and the lexical category is that Tokyo is a proper noun. However, if you access it in the Japanese language, right, which I also type in Japanese, for example, and then it's Tokyo, right? And it's in Japanese language, and the lexical category here is also a noun as well. And then you will be able to see the different statements. In this case, not much statements has been put here. You can see the identifiers, external IDs, and you can see the sensors of this particular lexim, the different forms and how it looks like. So yeah, one of the goals and purpose of lexicographical data, of course, is to be able to encourage the community from underrepresented communities, members from underrepresented communities, to contribute to lexicographical data on Wikidata, so that we can also have to preserve languages that are hardly used and on the risk of being extinct, right? All right, so we talk about, okay, we are 45. Okay, let me wrap it up in the next 5-10 minutes or so we can have a quick break before Camillo steps in. Okay, so we talk about the different items on Wikidata. We talk about an overview of what items of Wikidata looks like. We talk about, lexims on Wikidata. We also talk about some of the use cases, I shared 2 use cases. But the big question that people always ask me is, okay, you know, Alan, we have 100 million, 120 million, items or structured pages of Wikidata. What is being done with them, right? Who are the reusers? How do we get the data? How do we get to reuse the data? So there are several ways to reuse Wikidata's data. I think there are 8 ways, but I'm just sharing 2 ways here, which are quite commonly accessed. The first is, you know, you are free to use our REST API, Wikibase REST API. So it's a new way to access and edit our data of an individual entity. And I put an example of a link here and also documentation here of the Wikidata REST API. Of the Wikibase REST API, so that you will be able to understand how to be able to access this. I think we launched this 2 years or 2.5 years ago, if I'm not wrong. And now, of course, a very common way to reuse Wikidata's data is through the Sparkle, which is a SQL format to be able to for knowledge graphs to access the data knowledge graphs. It is a powerful query language, you know, to query this knowledge graph, and there's several ways to visualize the results of it, you know, including maps and timelines. And don't worry if you do not know how to write Sparkle languages. There are courses on Wikidata. The training module just now I've added before that also show you how to do that. Let me see if I can go back to that slide. And also, I think you see here, querying Wikidata, if you see my mouse, right, Sparkle. Once you go to the training library, you can do a quick crash course on by yourself, you know, if you're keen to learn some basic about Sparkle. Otherwise, you can also reach out to the members of the community and they can help you to write Sparkle queries as well. Very friendly. Wikidata volunteer community is very friendly and very helpful, right, Camillo? Yes. Yeah. And also, just a very interesting quick announcement. Since last year, Wikidata has been officially verified and acknowledged as a digital public good. Yay! By the Digital Public Goods Alliance. And the meeting that I had before this was actually the DPG's community meeting. So we are very thankful to each and every one of the Wikidata volunteer community for making this happen. We're very thankful to each and every one of you who are interested about Wikidata, working in institutions, you know, connecting your data with Wikidata, you know, your catalog with Wikidata. And finally, we have achieved this status last year. And what this means to us is that we will be able to pitch and share Wikidata with government projects, you know, at both the regional level, like the EU level, for example, or at the local level with local governments, because we are now officially a digital public good, just like Wikipedia, right? Yeah, so there are many projects out there, both commercial and non-commercial projects out there that have been reusing Wikidata's data for their you know, their applications, their projects, their whatever users that they want. I won't name the big techs. You know, I'm sure you know who they are. Most notably, Wikidata's data has been used in digital assistants, you know, it has been used in large language models or training the data for the AI models. Also, you know, used by different projects, you know, the apps that you see in a handphone, you know, and of course Wikipedia as well. But I just want to share some interesting, you know, open free projects, you know, so that we can be able to be happy and have fun, right? There's this project called Wikiflix, where, you know, you will be able to watch license-free movies, right? And this is derived from, I mean, the film itself doesn't derive from Wikidata, but the structured data on what the individual movies are from Wikidata. There's KD Itinerary, which is actually a digital travel assistance, an application that you can download and use. It's also free to use as well. This is a project called Notable People, you know, where they bring, you know, they show you where the different notable people around the world is from and located. And the data is from Wikidata. Gov Directory is a crowdsourced fact-check directory of official government online accounts and services. So sorry. And it is also a DPG as well, by the way. So please check out Gov Directory. Very interesting project. Scribe uses lexicographical data on Wikidata. You can download this additional keyboard so that you'll be able to learn German better. Yeah, and very interesting. And this project called Surrounding Ocean, it is also reusing the lexims from Wikidata to be able to share with you about the different words in Wikidata in different languages as well. So I thought this is very interesting. These are very interesting projects to showcase, so that you can. If you hover around here, you can see that I put the links here. So don't worry, you can always access them later on after this presentation if you are interested. Okay, I'm right on time at 50. So the next section will be by Camillo to edit Wikidata. Do we need to take a quick coffee break? Comfort break? I think so. Yeah. Let me check the chat.
This is Kira. Yeah, I think that oh, that was incredible. So thank you for that. Like, what an incredible overview and just really talking about Wikidata. I think that we have time for like a quick break if that works for everyone. So do we want to? It's 52 here. Do we want to say like 5 minutes to like 57, or do we want to round it up to top of the hour?
Okay.
Camilo, it's up to you.
Yeah, 57 is good. Okay.
All right, 57. We'll be back at 57. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for your attention. See you later.
So I will share my screen, which is share. Okay, screen. So this is Camillo speaking. And now we will have 90 minutes regarding editing Wikidata. I will switch in many moments from this presentation to live editing. So I hope to speak slowly and clearly. Of course, you can send in the chat any comments or questions. So this presentation will be divided into 3 parts. The first part regards manual editing in a smart way, in the sense that also when you are manual editing, there are a lot of improvements that you can make in your editing interface through gadgets mainly, so as to edit in a more comfortable way, in a quicker way. So yeah, it's important to know this because it can really change a lot your editing experience, and usually most of the edits you do are made manually. So this, especially in the long term, can have a very big impact on your activity. Then, of course, we will also see some important tools for editing Wikidata, for example, mix and match that was previously mentioned by Alan and others. And finally, we will see some queries showing items that surely need your attention on Wikidata because they really need to be improved. If there is interest, I will also show how to change slightly these queries, for example, to restrict them to some specific sets of items on which you want to work. And also I will show some editing effectively through my account with the gadgets activated, and so that you can see how these gadgets work, why they are important, and effectively how to edit Wikidata. Just to stop for a moment the sharing, remember that these slides are on Meta, and also the instructions about these gadgets are on Meta. So maybe someone can put the link to this Meta page in the chat, and so this can make it easier for you to see what I am doing. So back to the presentation. So let's start with the first part, manual editing in a smart way. which is divided in 4 parts. So the importance of having an account, and then some things that you can set in your account to edit in a better way. The bubble, preferences, common JS, common CSS. Of course, since you signed in a dashboard, you probably already have an account, but let's see why having an account in general in a Wikimedia project and also specifically in Wikidata is very useful. So everyone can edit. This is true on Wikipedia, and this is true on Wikidata with just very, very few exceptions. So you can edit without an account 99 point something% of the pages of Wikidata. And this is a bit obsolete. In fact, your IP address is not shown anymore. I will update this afterwards also on Commons, because just a few months ago this was changed, and now there are temporary accounts, so your IP address is not shown. It's just a temporary account that is shown. But anyway, you can edit almost everything without an account. Why having an account is important? Because, first of all, your edits are associated with your username, so it's easy to have an overview of your Wikidata activity, which can be useful in many circumstances. Also, it's easier for other users to contact you because you have a talk page that is always there and other users can write you. And if you have an account, you become able to edit also that 0 point something% of pages that you cannot edit without an account. So you become able to edit properties, which is something that in Wikidata is quite advanced, but in some occasions might be useful. And also, it's not something that should scare you a lot. So in fact, editing a property is something relatively easy and accessible in most cases. And also you become able to edit semi-protected pages. These two are true after 4 days of registration and 50 edits, which is a very, very low threshold. So after you have done 50 edits, made 50 edits, you become able to edit, let's say, almost everything in Wikidata. But there are also, okay, and this is how to create an account. It's very easy. Put a username, put a password, and the email address is optional, but since it is the only way to reset the password, highly recommended. So, but you already have an account, so we can go quick on this. If you have an account, now you have an account, you can also do other things. These, in fact, are true not only for Wikidata, but also for Wikipedia and other projects. So probably you already know them. You can use a watch list to check the edits made on pages that you're interested in. You can create a user page where you can put information about yourself, especially about your activity on Wikidata. You can also collect useful links to materials, to wiki projects that you might want to use again in the future. So it's also a place where you can collect materials that are useful for your editing activity, and you can also collect them in user subpages. Okay. And now let's come nearer to Wikidata. In Wikidata, as you know, people from all language backgrounds edit. So there is not a Wikidata in English, in Italian, in Spanish, in Hindi, and so on. There is just one Wikidata. So Wikidata is a multilingual project like Commons, and there is an interface language that you can easily change. So let's go to Wikidata. If you are more comfortable, for example, here is Wikidata, how it appears to you having logged in with an account. If you are more comfortable editing in a language that is not English, you can switch it. For example, I usually use Wikidata in Italian, so you just in 2 clicks come to editing in Italian, and then if you want to go back to English, you click here and you search English, and in a few clicks you're back to English. Something very easy, but also it can be quite useful because editing with the interface in your language can be much more comfortable than editing in English if it's not a language that you want to use for this kind of activity. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. You can also do other more complex things, like changing the interface language is very quick. You can do other things, and we will see them now. So you can personalize the languages that appear in the term box, which is the box containing labels, descriptions, and aliases that Alian previously has shown. You can improve your user interface through gadgets, and then you can also use external tools. So we will see these things, and let's start from the Babel, personalizing the languages in the term box. So by default, the languages that appear in the term box are guessed by Wikidata on the basis of your IP address. So you might see some languages that are pertinent to your interests and some languages that are not pertinent. And for example, you might not see some languages that, despite being far from where you are while editing Wikidata, are of your interest. You might be in Italy and be interested in seeing the labels in Japanese or in Hindi or in other languages. So you can personalize the languages of the term box that you see by default, and you can do it adding to your user page a bubble. The bubble has many aims. Of course, the bubble is public, so you are putting it in your user page, which is public. It is meant to show other users which are the languages that you understand, so that they know in which language they can write you and you can understand without using, for example, automatic translators. But in Wikidata, this is also the aim that the bubble has in other Wikimedia projects. So you have probably seen bubbles in many Wikimedia projects, and they have this scope of showing other users the languages you understand. But in Wikidata, they also are meant to set the languages that you see in the term box. So I will show you in my user page in Wikidata that you access by clicking on your username. I have this bubble with 6 languages: Italian, English, French, Latin, German, Spanish. So if I go on an item, let's take an item, this one, you will see that in the bubble, I see the default for all languages, which has been introduced to help Wikidata get rid of the redundance of having the same label in multiple languages with the exact same string of characters. So I can, for example, set here Pontedera as multilingual, and then I can potentially delete all these Pontedera because they become redundant. And then after the multilingual, I see the 6 languages that are in my bubble. So they are ordered automatically according to their language code, although the first one after multilingual is the one of the interface. So I have English because it's the language of the interface, and then German, DE, Spanish, ES, French, FR, Italian, IT, and Latin, LA. If I put the interface language to another language that is not in my bubble, for example, Catalan, you will see that after the default, I have Catalan, and then the other languages in the order of code. So DE, EN, ES, etc. So let's go back to English. So this can already be quite useful because if you're interested in working on some specific languages, having them by default here might be very useful. So you should go to your user page, go to edit, and add a bubble. You can just copy the string that is also present here, like this string, and adapt it to your needs. And after that, you publish changes and it will be immediately effective. Okay, then, okay, this is what I've just said. Let's go on. Preferences. Some gadgets, the most used ones, are available in the preferences. So you can just go to your preferences and in the section gadgets, you find them and you can easily turn them on or off through checkboxes. This is the list of gadgets that I suggest you to enable. Of course, there are many others. Some of them are enabled by default, and probably you can just leave them enabled, because if they are enabled by default, it's because the community thinks that they are very useful. But you can also try others. These are just the gadgets that, in my opinion, are the most useful ones for Wikidata. And in the page on Meta, you also find an explanation for them here. In fact, this explanation is also present in your preferences. So also when you are enabling them, you see a brief description of what they do. If you want to enable them, you go to the preferences and then to the section gadgets. And here you find them, and you can check or uncheck the box and then press save. And yeah, since I am in the preferences, I will also change the interface from Vector 2022 to Vector Legacy, which in my opinion is more comfortable when editing Wikidata. So now I'm back to Vector 2010 that you see has the bar on the left fixed and no bar on the right. In my opinion, it's a bit more comfortable when editing Wikidata. So we have seen the preferences. After the preferences, there are other gadgets, and this is a part which is far less known. If you also check the statistics about the usage of gadgets in Wikidata, you see that the gadgets that are available in the preferences are much more used than the gadgets available in the CommonJS, because a lot of users, also advanced users, are not quite comfortable with using the CommonJS. They don't know it, so they use it not very much. But there are a lot of great gadgets available in the CommonJS, and you can easily try them. So basically, as we have said, some gadgets are available in the preferences, but others are not. You can just create some sub-pages of your user page that are named CommonJS and CommonCSS to enable these gadgets. You can write your own gadgets if you have programming skills, or you can just use gadgets that have been developed by other users. CommonJS is meant to enable gadgets in JavaScript that add more functions to your editing interface. So they add, for example, some buttons that do things and that you can use to do these things more quickly. Common CSS is just to improve your interface graphically. So if you want to change how the item is visualized from a graphical point of view, you can use the common CSS. So the common CSS, in fact, has no impact on the functions that you have for editing. But for example, you can use it to have some colors. I use it in this way to put some colors on some properties that are specifically of my interest so that I find them more easily and I can edit more quickly, because when I scroll the item, I just see in a few seconds which are the properties of my interest. Otherwise, if there are many properties, I can just scroll and miss them, and then it becomes a longer process. So also the graphical appearance can have an impact on how comfortable you are while editing. So here is just a list of gadgets that I suggest you for your CommonJS. And here is a list of properties that I suggest you to put in your common CSS with a border color. You can probably understand I'm putting a color on the border of these properties so that they are highlighted and it's easier for you when you scroll the item to see them. So, and this was the end of part one. So if you check, for example, here also in the meta page, the instructions, it is sufficient for you to copy this list of lines, for example, open this link. This link already redirects to your page, so it is already redirecting to your page. You arrive here, so here I already have my page. If you don't have, you will see a message, create the page, and you create the page. You will have just a blank window here. You paste the lines and you press publish. Of course, also the list of gadgets that you enable in the CommonJS and Common CSS is public, just for you to know. But anyway, this is also useful because, by the way, it makes possible to make statistics about how much the gadgets are used and so on. So, and you can change them in any moment. So in any moment, if a gadget is not anymore of your interest, you can just delete it, or you can also comment the line with the double slash. As you can see, if you put the double slash on the line, you are not deleting the line, so it remains visible, but the gadget is not effective. So it's like it doesn't exist, but it's still there, so that if you change your mind and you want to re-enable it, you can just delete the two slashes and save the page, and the gadget will become active again. So also this can be changed in any moment. And these gadgets are very powerful. We will see them at work in not much time. They are very powerful because a lot of these things that would take a lot of time with the standard interface of Wikidata become very quick with this. So we will see them in a few minutes. I will just check for a few seconds the chat. So there are some thank you. The recording is on, yeah. And yeah, so I think I can go on. Okay, so let's go to part two of the presentation, the tools. So I will just focus on 4 tools that are the ones that I've most used in these 12 years on Wikidata. There are also others, of course. By the way, there is a list of tools regarding Wikidata that is quite complete, and you just go on Wikidata and search for Wikidata tools. And here you find all the tools available in Wikidata. This is tools in a broad sense, so it also regards gadgets. And as you can see, they are divided by like area of effectiveness. So yeah, you can go to this page and you can have a wide overview of the tools in Wikidata. I will focus on the ones that, as I said, are the ones that I've most used in these years and that are, I would say, probably also the most used in general. I will start with mix and match. Mix and match is meant to match external databases with Wikidata. It has been developed and it is still developed by Magnus Manske, a name that is probably known to you because he has also been one of the most important developers of MediaWiki. So Mix and Match is available on Toolforge. To use it, you must have a Wikidata account. And remember to log in, otherwise you are unable to use it. So I don't know if I am already logged in, otherwise I can show you. Let me check. If I go to Mix and Match, go like this. Okay, I will reach it. Yeah, by the way, I had the link on the meta page, but now I am just going with this. Okay. No, I'm not logged in, so let me switch the interface to English. So you see, login for actions, you just go on login. After that, it will show this page. Okay, it's in Italian, but trust me that here in English is allow, and you click allow, and after that, mix and match will reload, showing your username here. So when it shows your username here, you are logged in. Okay, so this is fundamental, otherwise your actions are basically not saved. Okay, so mix and match. The scope is matching external databases. I missing an S. Matching external databases to existing items one by one. This is the main aim, but you can also create new items one by one with a few data derived from external databases and then improve them manually. This is what you should do. Not always is done, but you should, after creating a new item through mix and match, go on the item and improve it a bit. And you can also upload new catalogs. There are no limitations, so you can do it by yourself uh, through scraping or uploading a CSV or TSV. I will show a brief demo of mix and match. So when I said scraping, scraping means that you can click here on scrape and set a scraper inside mix and match. This is useful also because the scraper runs periodically in the future, so it keeps the catalog up to date. If the external database website in general adds new entries, they will be periodically added to the mix and match catalog, which is useful. Otherwise, if you have a dump of the website, you can just go on. You should set this dump according to the requirements of mix and match that are hidden here. So here you see this info button. You should click on it, and clicking on this info button, you will see here how you should arrange a file so that you can upload it to mix and match as a TSV or CSV to make it a new mix and match catalog. So you should arrange your data according to these guidelines, and after that you can upload them to mix and match through this form, which is very quick. So you put a few data here, then you select the file from your computer that should be a CSV or TSV, and then you save and it uploads in a few hours. Okay, so but probably you won't need to update to upload a new mix and match catalog. You can just use the existing ones. Mix and match has at least 6,000 catalogs. So let me take this one. So these are the persons in a catalog of a group of libraries in Rome, Italy. As you can see, there are more than 700,000 persons in this catalog, and some of them have been fully matched with Wikidata. So basically, you should do nothing. They are already matched. They are okay. And also these are not applicable to Wikidata. So these are entries that for some reason some user has said that they cannot be matched with Wikidata. For example, because they have been deleted, or because the identity of the person is unclear, so it's not possible to match them with Wikidata as of now. So the fully matched and the not applicable to Wikidata are not of your interest. They are already done somehow. Either they have been matched, or someone has said that they cannot be matched. So the entries on which your work is required are the preliminarily matched and the unmatched. And here below you can see also statistics about how many matches have been done by month and which have been the users doing these matches. Okay, so if I enter the preliminarily matched, you can see now I will go to a page a bit farther. So I will go to, let's say, 2543, just randomly. So this is a random page of the preliminarily matched. And as you can see, Mix and Match proposes me some matches. And I can confirm the match or remove the match. For example, Benedictus Schmier with Benedict Schmier. So Benedict Schmier, if I click here, I hope I open the item. He was a Benedictine and professor of theology. Okay, it's not stated in, so I can also maybe add it in English. Benedictine monk and theologian. Yay. And let's check on the past, yes. Let's check here. So OSB means Benedictine, and the dates are the same. So he was active in the 17 something. So yeah, this is a correct match. So I can confirm. And when I click confirm, as you can see, your username appears here. I can, wait a minute, I can close this. And if you go to the history of this item, you will see that I have created a new claim adding this ID through Mix and Match, tag Mix and Match 1.0. So, and let's go a bit down. For example, let's go a bit up. Marcel Brun with Jean Villain. This is clearly wrong. Mix and Match sometimes proposes matches that are clearly wrong, so I can just remove it. And if I reload this page, both the match that I have removed and the match that I have confirmed will disappear because they are not anymore preliminarily matched. One has become fully matched and the other one has become unmatched. And you can go on for hours doing this. So for example, this is wrong and this is wrong. And this is probably okay, but let's check. Carla Cantone. Carla Cantone, l'azione giusta, il sindacato. Okay, so trade unionist. Yes, this is correct. So this is correct and they match. Great. So this is very easy. And if you have a catalog that is of your interest, this is a great way to do the match. And in mix and match, many users can collaborate to this. So as you can see in this catalog, a very big number of users has cooperated to matching this. So putting your catalog to mix and match also is a way to involve more volunteers in matching your catalog with Wikidata. The other function that I suggest you to use in mix and match is the function names in other catalogs. So if you go to names in other catalogs, you can see from this catalog, for the entries of this catalog that are unmatched, if they are unmatched, probably they don't exist on Wikidata. It's not sure, but it's highly probable. So you can see which of these entries that in this catalog are not matched are also present in other mix and match catalogs. Let's take an example with Josefina Escos. So this person is not matched with Wikidata. Wikidata has no item named Josefina Escos, and she is present in three entries in mix and match. So let's see if she is the same person. Josefina Escos, Ética Profesional de la Enfermería. Okay. Then we have Josefina Escos, Ética Profesional de la Enfermería. And then we have Josefina Escos. Wait, yes. Ética Profesional de la Enfermería. Okay, so same person, toggle checkboxes and create. In this way, I am creating a new item. Then, for example, I should enter here and, okay, we don't need this. We can just put this. And also this description in Italian should be removed. And, okay, this is fine. This is fine. I can go, for example, on the Virtual International Authority file to see if there is an identifier. Wait, accept, yes. Josefina Escos. No, nothing. Okay, so we have this, and we can go on Google, for example, and check if there is something about her. Probably this one. Let's have a look. Yeah, supervisor, yes. Accept, yes. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. My AD blocker. Wait a minute. Okay, maybe. Okay, maybe now that I have deactivated the AD blocker, it should work. Okay, so, yeah. Josefina Escos, una de las primeras enfermeras de la Clínica Universidad de Navarra. Okay, she died on the 8th of April 2022. Okay, so we have the death announced. So describe that URL, add qualifier, language of this is language of work or name, Spanish. Role, object of statement as role, yes. Obituary, yeah. Okay, so we have the obituary that we can link to this item, and then we can start adding statements. Sex or gender, according to what I read in the article, is female, and she was, I know it in Italian, infermiera, nurse, yes, good. She worked at the Clínica Universidad de Navarra, so employer, Clínica Universidad de Navarra. She died, death date, on the 8th of April 2022. Okay. Okay. And then, so she was 97. So 2022 minus 97. She was born either in 1925 or 1924. Let's check if there are confirmations about this. 1924 or 1925. 90, yeah, we have a confirmation. Great. So here we have a confirmation. Date of birth, it was stated here. Yeah, 28th of August, 1924. Okay. Reference URL. And it's very important to put the retrieval date because websites can die. So retrieval date, very important. Place of birth, Madrid. Great. Now I will reload the page. So as you can see, now we have here a constraint violation saying you should put a reference to place of birth. So I copy the reference of date of birth into place of birth. 2 clicks and it's done. Then I have to put a reference to the date of death, occupation, nurse, and employer. My reference is the obituary here, so I click on this button and I paste it on employer, occupation, date of death, also on the gender. Reload. Reloading is not necessary, it's just for showing you the result. And as you can see, now I have the reference. And then I can add, this is imprecise, Spanish nurse, 1924, 2002, and in Italian, yay. So this item now is very good. Let me just check the notifications. Yay. And yay. Okay. So yeah, as you have seen, I am creating an item from nothing through mix and match with 2 identifiers. You can see that these properties, date of birth, place of birth, date of death, and occupation, are highlighted, and this is due to my common CSS. And this function that allows me to use this as ref, copy this as ref into statements, this is activated through a gadget that is in my common JS, which is use as ref. So just to show you here, it is this one, use as ref. And for example, the gadget that adds the retrieval date, putting automatically the date of today, is current date. And the gadget that allows me to duplicate references is duplicate references. So you see that these gadgets are effectively relevant in the editing. So mix and match is also useful, as you have seen, to create a new item crossing different identifiers into one new item that you create. And then, of course, you should go and improve. And as you can see, I have found through Google some dates that were not in the library catalogs, but now are in Wikidata. And in the future, these dates could pass from Wikidata to these library catalogs, effectively improving the experience of the users using these catalogs. So, okay. And if you are interested in looking at new items that you want to create crossing some specific catalogs, there is a way. So if you want, for example, to work on items about persons that are missing and that are present in this catalog and in another catalog of your interest, there is a way. Let me just find the link in half a minute. I stop sharing for 10 seconds and I find it. I have it in another browser. So the link is, I'm finding it. So yeah, should be not this one, yeah. So let me start sharing again. Yeah, share screen. Yeah, good. So the link is, wait a minute, I paste it here. So, okay, this is an example with 4 catalogs. Okay, so in this case, I have selected, wow, one catalog has been deleted, yeah. So they are just 3, okay. But anyway, here you see that you put the numbers of the catalogs here, and you obtain a list of names that are present in all these catalogs, but are presently not matched with Wikidata. So if there are some 2, 3, 4 catalogs that you are interested in, you can look specifically at items that are missing in Wikidata, but present in all these 3, 4 catalogs and work on them. This is also very useful. So you see also some names of women on which it's possible to work. And this is very useful. I should put this link somewhere and I will do it now in order to not forget it. So let me just put it here. Here. Function to create new items from different catalogs. Let me just put like this. Okay, so and this is, so mix and match. The 2 things that I suggest you to do are: 1, going through the preliminary match of a catalog of your interest and just confirm or remove. 2, use the names in other catalogs to create new items for this catalog, but also that are relevant for other catalogs, so that these new items have many IDs. And the third thing is using this function to check specifically a group of 2, 3, 4 catalogs of your interest and work specifically on creating new items that are present in all of them, because if they are present in many catalogs, it means that you're probably creating items that are relevant for a wider community of persons. Let me check in the chat if there are questions about this. Other persons that are going because the time, okay. Yeah, exact, use as ref, perfect, okay, good. Let me go. So I'll go back to my presentation. We close mix and match. The second tool that I wanted to mention is OpenRefine. OpenRefine is meant to reconcile and import data to Wikidata. It is not a website, it is a software that can be downloaded freely without any restriction at openrefine.org. In order to use OpenRefine to edit Wikidata, you must have a Wikidata account. Of course, you can use OpenRefine also not to edit Wikidata, but for other things. The scope of OpenRefine is clean up structured data. So basically you have a big Excel table and you want to clean it up. OpenRefine is great for this. And also reconcile data with Wikidata and import them massively to existing items or to new items. So you have a list of names, for example, of cities, and you want to match these cities with Wikidata. You will have a function that says reconcile with Wikidata. The software proposes you some matches with varying degrees of certainty. If they are really, really certain, you may just trust the software, but just if it is very, very, very certain. If the software is uncertain or doesn't find nothing, you will have to revise these matches, and so that we are sure that you are importing data that are correct. Of course, if you're importing data to Wikidata, you should check that the data you import are licensed compatibly with CC0. So if you are the owner of the data, no problem. If the data come from elsewhere, they should be in CC0, otherwise it is a problem. And if you are creating new items, you should check that these items are notable. So Wikidata has a guideline about what can be put in it. And this guideline is WDN, which is the shortcut for Wikidata notability. So now it will open in the other, it will open in this other browser. Okay, so this is Wikidata notability. Basically, as of now, if your item refers to an instance of a clearly identifiable entity that can be described using serious and publicly available references that, by the way, you should put in the item, because if they exist but you don't cite them, it's a problem. So they should be in the item. The item is fine. Anyway, please remember that this guideline, Wikidata notability, is ongoing a reform. So you may want to go to this request for comment, because there is an ongoing effort to change a bit this policy. And you might want to see how this discussion is going, and to give your opinion and see what the community is discussing. So let's close this. So yeah, OpenRefine, great tool to import data that you have collected yourself or taken from someone else. Yeah, and import them to Wikidata, either to existing items or to new items. Then we have quick statements. If I remember correctly, the statistics, quick statements is the single tool, the individual tool that has been used the most to edit Wikidata since it exists. So it is a greatly important tool, and for this reason, also Wikimedia Deutschland, in cooperation with the Wikimedia User Group of Brazil, has recently worked on creating a new improved version of Quick Statements 3.0. The first one is basically Quick Statements 2.0, but it's just like the old Quick Statements. But there is also Quick Statements 3.0 that has a few very useful functions that are absent in the 2.0. So probably if you are starting to use quick statements, you can just go to the 3.0 because it has these slightly new functions, besides all the ones that were already in the 2.0 version. To use quick statements, you need to have an auto-confirmed Wikidata account. So the account with 4 days of registration and 50 edits, which is a very low threshold. Quick statements is used to massively add or also remove data from Wikidata if there are data that are plainly wrong or redundant, or that have been added using the wrong properties, for example. Quick statements is also useful to remove things, perhaps to remove them and re-add them in the correct way. So, and in this, it's quite unique because, for example, OpenRefine just allows to add but not to remove. Quick statements also to remove. It allows you to codify the commands in 2 different ways, v1 or csv, according to what you want to do. One syntax or the other might be more comfortable. And yeah, the documentation of both versions is pretty good. So you should be able, it might be a bit long, but I would say that I've always found the answers to my doubts in the documentation. So it should be pretty easy to use. By the way, also for OpenRefine and also for quick statements, you find a lot of tutorials online. The same that I've said for OpenRefine. If you are importing data through quick statements, please make sure that what you're importing is licensed compatibly with CC0. If you are creating new items, that they are notable. Yeah. Finally, PetScan. PetScan is another very useful tool as quick statements and also as mix and match. It has been developed and is still developed by Magnus Manske. And it is the evolution of the old CatScan. CatScan was meant to study the Wikimedia projects, especially Wikipedia, navigating through categories. PetScan improves on CatScan in the sense that it can combine data from Wikimedia projects pages. For example, you can look for pages that have a certain category or template with data coming from Wikidata. So, for example, you can see pages that are in the category Brazilian writers on Portuguese Wikipedia, but that in Wikidata don't have country of citizenship Brazil. Things like this. So you can use Wikidata to improve Wikipedia, Wikipedia to improve Wikidata, crossing the two. PetScan is just a tool for making searches, so it doesn't require you to log in. However, through PetScan, you can trigger edits in quick statements, and if you do this, of course, you need to have an auto-confirmed Wikidata account, otherwise you're unable to use quick statements. If you do a search through PetScan, you can download it in many formats, and yeah, it's a very useful tool. I would say that it's very easy to use. If there is a request, I can make a demo. Otherwise, but I would say it's very easy. Otherwise, we can go on to part 3. Let me check the chat. Okay. Okay, good. So let me just turn on the light here. And let's go on. So constraint violations, quality issues, and so on. What you can fix in Wikidata. Wikidata has a lot of great things, and it has also a lot of things that are not great and that you should improve. And first you have to find them, and then you can improve them. So let's start with the constraint violations. That is what is usually wrong is usually a constraint violation. So in Wikidata, you can say a lot of things because the software that Wikidata uses, that is Wikibase, it has been mentioned by Alan, allows you to do almost everything. So you can say a lot of things that are meaningful. You can also say things that are not meaningful, and the software will not hinder you from doing it. But of course, this can create issues. So the community has started to use, a few years after the start of Wikidata, has started to use the constraints, the property constraints, to say how properties should be used and especially how they should not be used. For example, if you use country of citizenship, saying that country of citizenship is table, or country of citizenship is Napoleon, or country of citizenship is the Roman Empire for a person that has lived in the 18th century, are all things that can be done in Wikidata. Wikidata will not hinder you from doing them, but these are data that don't make sense. So constraints will say, okay, this doesn't make sense, and a constraint violation will be shown. If you are on a single item, you can see on some values of statements an icon that says, here there is a constraint violation. Or you can just look for a list of constraint violations so that you have a list of all the items that have a certain issue. And if you want a list of constraint violations, there are two methods. So you go on the talk page of a property, and let's do it basically. So I take a property, like a property, let's go on property 396 that I know. So you go on the talk page, discussion, and in the talk page of a property, you always find a blue box of documentation. This is all generated automatically. By the way, in this blue box of documentation, you also find a lot of automatic queries that might be of your interest. So take a look on them. And also, wow, more queries, etc. Also the links to the mix and match catalogs, okay. The property proposal discussion, how many uses are present of this property. And after that, you find these green boxes. These green boxes, each one of these green boxes is a constraint. And first you see the constraint, then you see an explanation of the constraint, and after that you see list of violations, and there are two links. There is the link to the database reports, then there is these other database reports, okay, and then you see the SparkQL. So basically, these are two slightly different lists because the database reports are, wait a minute, the database reports are currently updated by KRBot 2. KRBot 2 has a few issues, particularly it doesn't take into account constraint separators, and it does take into account deprecated values. This means because of these two issues, you might see false positives in these lists. And the update is not real time. Let's say that it is once a day, or once a day or rarer. So there are usually at least a few hours of delay. For this reason, I suggest you to use not the database reports, but the link to the SparkQL. The only issue with the link to the SparkQL is that the query might time out. If the query does time out, it is unpleasant, and you can either try to transfer the query to QLever, of which I will speak very soon, or you can just use the database reports. But I would say that in general, if you manage to check the constraints through queries, it's much better than checking the constraints through the database reports. And by the way, Wikimedia Deutschland is working on making it easier to query constraint violations. So this is also something on which we might see improvements in the next few months, hopefully. So the constraint violations are a very good way to find things that are probably wrong on a property on which you are interested. If it might happen, what you find is not wrong, then you should go to the property and change the constraint, either enlarging it or adding an individual exception. But usually, if there is a constraint violation, it's just something that is wrong. Okay, let's go on. Then there are other quality issues that are not present in the constraint violation lists, but still are problematic. So, and this I would say can be especially three cases: missing statements, conflicting values of the same statement, and missing references. Let's just brainstorm what they can be. Missing statements. If you have an item that is just instance of human and nothing else, this is a problem. Surely, if an item is an instance of human, you can say many things. If there is just instance of human, or maybe instance of human and sex or gender female, still it's too few. There should be more statements, especially if the item has a good source that allows to extract them. Also, an issue is items of humans having no occupation, no position, no status, so nothing that allows to understand which was the field of activity of this person. And also another issue, for example, date of death, but no date of birth. This is, by the way, probably a constraint violation, but yeah, it should be a constraint violation. But anyway, it's also a case of missing statements. Conflicting values. For example, humans that have both sex or gender female and male. This is usually an issue. Either it should be codified better, or in most cases, one of the two values is completely wrong. This is by far the most frequent case, and we have some hundreds of these, which is an issue. So this is also something we should hopefully fix. And also, for example, issue is if we have two dates of birth, two dates of death, two places of birth, two places of death. By the way, it's possible that you have two sources and they say something different. One says that the person was born in January and the other says that the person was born in February. This is possible. And Wikidata is happy if you codify both values. If you codify source A says January and source B says February. But in order to make Wikidata happy, you should also say that the value supported by source A or the value supported by source B is preferable. Otherwise, Wikidata thinks that the person was born twice or in two places, or that the person was died twice or in two places, and this is impossible. So Wikidata can support conflicting values, but they should not be all in best rank. I don't remember if Alan spoke about the concept of rank, but basically, let's see it in Wikidata. So if I go to, for example, this example. Okay, this is an example that I've made like 50 times in my life, so I know it well. Domenico Comparetti. As you can see here, there are two dates of birth. And one of these is preferred. You can see it because here there is the arrow pointing up, and the other one has just the middle point. So this means that this is a date supported by a good source anyway, etc. But it's not the preferred one. The preferred one is this. And I can also state with the qualifier why this is preferred, because this is supported by the source considered most trustworthy. I may also have, for example, it may happen that there is another source that says 7th of July 1935 because it has just a typo. So in this case, I can register it if it is a very authoritative source, but register it as deprecated with, for example, reason for deprecated rank, typo, I think the typographical error. Yeah, this can also be done. So deprecate rank only when the value is plainly wrong. For example, because of a typo or because the source clearly confused this person with another one. If the thing is still plausible but not the best possible, leave the normal rank. So this is just normal rank, and only one value should have the preferred rank, as you see here, possibly also with a reason for preferred rank. So all the cases in which you have two values that are both normal rank, this is an issue. Either one should be deprecated, but this is rare. In most cases, one should be promoted to preferred. We will see a few examples. Finally, missing references. So it is a problem if some crucial statements like date of birth, date of death, place of death are missing references, or it is also a problem, slightly less problematic, but still it's still an issue if the only reference is a Wikimedia project. This is also an issue that should be avoided. So you should put a reference to an external authority like biographical dictionary, an encyclopedia, an obituary, okay, and remove Wikipedia because Wikipedia itself is not a source. Or you can just go to Wikipedia, copy the source that Wikipedia uses, and put it instead of Wikipedia. Okay. So I have mentioned these three types of issues: missing statements, conflicting values, and conflicting values all in best rank. So, for example, all in normal rank, and missing references. And I said that a lot of these issues are not constraint violations, but still are obviously things to be improved. So how do I find this kind of issues? Through queries. And which are the main ways to query Wikidata? We have not one Sparkle endpoints, we have more than one. We have an official one, the one that also was mentioned by Alan, the Wikidata Query Service since 2015, but we have also others, by the way. If you want a complete overview, you should go here in this page, but the two main ones are the official one and QLever. QLever has been developed by the University of Freiburg in Germany and is available since 2021. And just to say a few differences, I will explain because why all the queries that I have put in the meta page use QLab and they do not use the Wikidata Query Service. Basically, we can summarize these differences in 3 points. The Wikidata Query Service has a few useful personalizations that are absent in QLever, particularly the service Wikibase label. That is that you can say, please show me the label of the item in English, and if there is no label in English, then in German, and if there is no label in German, then in Italian, and if there is no label in Italian, then in Spanish. And this is managed by the service Wikibase label, and this is quite good. But unfortunately, the Wikidata Query Service is struggling a bit with the size of Wikidata, so it has underwent a graph split, which makes somehow more difficult to query the scholarly articles. This was made in order to avoid the Wikidata Query Service to collapse completely, so it was necessary, but in the present situation, making a query regarding scholarly articles is much easier in QLever than in Wikidata Query Service. And the most important thing is that QLever is more efficient than the Wikidata Query Service, and it has no timeout after 60 seconds. So a lot of queries that fail in Wikidata query service work in QLever. I haven't tried my queries in the Wikidata query service, the queries that I have made in QLever, but I'm almost certain that at least half of them, probably more, would fail in the Wikidata query service. So I use QLever. And yeah, if you have to make complex queries, I would suggest you to go just directly on QLever. Of course, there is ongoing work on replacing the Wikidata query service, maybe with QLever, QLever as a software in this case, and it is ongoing, and we hope it will be quick. So we hope that in the next few, not months, but years, let's say, the Wikidata query service improves significantly. As of now, for a lot of queries, using QLever is either the best option or the only option. So we have examples of queries, and these examples here I've put just a few ones, these and these, but all of them are here on Meta. And this was basically the end of my presentation. So I would have a short space for questions, but since I have still at least 20 minutes, as far as I remember, I would now go with some manual editing, but first I will stop a few seconds for questions, and then I will go with manual editing. Questions?
This is Kira speaking. I don't have a question, but I just want to say, like, that was really great. That was such a great presentation. So really, like, so much gratitude for that. And I think also, or at least reflecting on like how I learn, I think that like once getting into it, that might be
Yeah.
where more questions surface.
So I will go with manual editing. I have 20 minutes, right? I hope so. So this is again Camillo speaking, and I will use my queries. So now I am on Meta. I think you have the link to this page of Meta, which is important because everything is here. So here there is my presentation that I have just finished to show. Here is all the instructions, let's say suggestions for your account. Here there is also the explanation of these suggestions and the tools that I've shown, and now we have the queries. As I said, all these queries are on QLever, and I will start with this. So we have, unfortunately, we have humans with just one statement. So to explain, item is a human. This item has a certain number of statements. This is the variable meaning the number of statements, and this number of statements is below 2, so it's just 1. It cannot be 0 because there is 1 that is instance of human. So these are items that have one statement. By the way, I could also say like this. This is just the same. And also it has one site link, so only one Wikipedia article, and specifically this is an article of Italian Wikipedia. I will go with this. So we have, unfortunately, 157 results. And for example, I will open this one. Trust, yes. So, Alice Linussi is an article of Italian Wikipedia. Okay, let me just log in also here. Okay, better. So, Alice Linussi is an article of Italian Wikipedia about an Italian velista, sailor, yeah, more or less. Okay, here we have some sources, I hope. Let me just open this, for example. Yeah. At least we have, for example, a source for the birthplace. Yeah. This date, 25 of December 2000, I don't find the exact source, but anyway, let's start with this. So, Alice Linussi, as of now, in Wikidata has nothing. So, let's add at least a few things. Female as a gender. Then we can add occupation, velista, sailor, yes, I was correct. And I can add a source for sailor, reference URL, retrieved. Okay. And then at least this source states that she is born in Trieste. And okay, and then I can copy the reference to Trieste. Let's stop here. But anyway, this is just somehow better than before. I can also add at least a description. Okay, a bit better. Let's take another one also as an example. So let's go down a bit. And let's take, these are mostly men, by the way, but this is a woman. So, okay, so we have a philanthropist. Let's see if I see the references for the data. Should be this maybe, reference for the data. Let's have a look. Academia, yeah, okay. Full PDF. I have to log in, which is a bit of a problem on this browser. And this one, is this a source? So, Gemma, yes, yes, but the dates, okay, but here there are no dates, nah, vabbè. I will just go on the item and put just a few things from Italian Wikipedia, gender female, and occupation philanthropist, and okay, and then I will return later. Okay, but this, as you can see, is a good way to find a lot of things that are really in need of improvement, because having just human is very, very few. It's nothing. So basically, it needs a real improvement. Okay. We also have the case in which we have only human and gender female. So here we have 9 cases, like, let me check this, for example. Yeah, I remember this. Giulia in Furna. So Julian Furna, director, screenwriter, and something else. We have here, for example, a link to IMDb that I can add as identifier. So let me add IMDb as identifier. Yeah. And let me check IMDb. Yeah. So it confirms it's not a great source in the sense that it is community edited, but anyway, it's useful to have it as identifier. Director, yeah. Let me check a minute. Yeah, director. And screenwriter. Yeah. Let me check if I also find other information on Google. Julian, yeah. So this could be her website. This is a homonym, surely. This is also her. This is on LinkedIn. This is IMDb. Let me check if this is her website. Yeah, this is her official website. So, official website is a property that can be stated on Wikidata. This official website is in language Italian, and I can use the official website as a reference to say that she's a director, a screenwriter, and also female. And also another thing that I can do, I can go back to Italian Wikipedia. As you can see, as of now, Italian Wikipedia has a link to IMDb, but I will add it here, and instead of this, I will just take the data from Wikidata with this template that is available on Italian Wikipedia, and I have to put a captcha because I don't usually use this account, and then it will also take the official website, which is much better. So as you can see, the data that I've put on Wikidata can be directly read from Wikipedia. This was something that I wanted to show. Then, for example, we have, this is an interesting one, women with a biographical dictionary, but no statements. So you have already a very good source available to describe these women, but it hasn't been used. So you just have that the person is a woman, there is a biographical dictionary, and it has not been used. Let me take this example. Anka, okay, Anka Richtiger. Yay. Accept. So Anka Richtiger was born in Częstochowa, Poland in 1918, and she died during the German occupation of France. She was a trade unionist and a resistant, yeah, partisan. Okay, I don't have a death date, but anyway, yeah, because there is no death date precisely, but anyway, let's start with the data that we have. So, date of birth, 1918, place of birth, Częstochowa, sehr gut. Then we need the date of death that we don't have, but at least we can put a 20th century, yeah. And then we can put occupation, trade unionist, and resistant, yeah, exact. And also the circumstances of death should be death circostanze del decesso in Italian, manner of death, yes, killed in action, I think. Yeah. Let's see if it is correct. Otherwise, yeah, it requires a source, but it is correct. Okay, good. Okay. And then I reload the page, and my source is this website. Oh, by the way, pseudonyms, Lucien Annette. This is also a datum that I should add. Pseudonym. Good. And also, I should put it here. No, wait, I'm missing Annette. Yeah. And then reload again, and copy this as reference. So paste, 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 and paste. And if I reload, you will see that I have pasted the same references on all of this. In a very, very few seconds, I have references for all of these statements. And then I can put this as description in French at least. And this is good. Let me check in the chat. What is happening? Reliable example, recall, Q5, human, okay, preferred source. Okay, okay. Then if you can then summarize, if I have to answer something, please let me know. So, okay. In this case, as you can see, I have a reference to this button. I can easily paste it on all the data that I have added. Yeah.
Hi, this is Kira. There's actually a couple questions in the chat. I'm wondering
Yeah,
if we want to pause and
sure.
address them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, please.
yeah, so I know Alan has been answering some of them in here, but we can just start from the top. So Orla asked, is there a preferred source, like another website that people can easily find rather than an article or a book or a page in book that is not immediately accessible behind firewalls? And Alan responded to that, but then there was a follow-up question about
Mhm.
primary sources from digitized archival collections, like letters, photographs, manuscripts. Are those considered valid references?
Yeah, they are. They are. I would say that ideally they should probably also be complemented by a secondary source, but I think we don't have exactly a clear guideline on this. So also having them only as of now is considered fine.
Great. And so then another question comes from Mark. This sounds specific, but maybe you could do some insight. Mark says, none of my queries executed. It keeps showing me waiting for response.
Wait, which one? None of the queries executed keeps waiting for response. It may happen. Also, QLever sometimes can have issues, and maybe in my recently I've also sometimes experienced it with some firewalls. Maybe QLever may have issues, but it usually works. So at least as of now here, if I open also, for example, this one, and I execute it. It might take some time, but I'm trying again. It might take, of course, some time. Let me share the screen. Okay, but it worked. 17 seconds, everything normal. So yeah, it usually works.
So, Mark, I'm not sure. It might be a connectivity issue
Could
too.
be.
That might, but hopefully, let us know if it's not happening. Go ahead, Alan.
You can also
Yeah.
try
So
copying. Alan, yeah, go.
yeah. So from our experiences, sometimes it's also, if you limit the number of results to show, let's say you limit to 100 results, then you will be able to get your results faster. If you fail to limit the results to be shown, if there's like, I don't know, 50,000 results, and it takes a long time, and then for the query service, you would definitely usually get a timeout, like what Camillo has mentioned earlier
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
you
So
can try
the
copying to the query service, but I think it will time out. I'm trying to copy the exact query to the query service that I'm not much confident to obtain something better.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then, another question, the next one in the chat is from Robert. It'd probably be helpful if you just see it too, because there's ID numbers here or item numbers.
Yeah,
Do you see it?
wait. No, I go. So, okay, okay. How is the query identified in the biographical dictionary? Basically, the query is going to the property pages and seeing if the property pages have these two QIDs as instance of. So if the property is instance of property for a biographical dictionary or property for an encyclopedia, it is selecting them. Wow, the Wikidata query service surprised me and was able to handle this in 48 seconds. So this at least works also on the Wikidata query service, which is good.
And then this is Kira again. So I'm seeing there's a follow-up question about essentially archive being primary sources. Do you want to go ahead and unmute or Diatry? I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong.
Hi, no, you
Wait.
got it right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the follow-up is just sort of, I'm sort of asking this again just because I'm working at an archive right now, and one of our biggest struggles is just trying to figure out, we get a lot of biographical data through these primary sources, right? Because these are
Yeah.
personal collections of a lot of these. I mean, I work at an archive which keeps material related to scientists. So we get all of this biography, and also see a lot of value in connecting this information onto already existing biographies of these people online. Just because we often also find that there's a lot of wrong information or kind of a lack of information on these figures, and so we see value in sort of closing that gap, I guess. But when I was also speaking to a few friends of mine who have a lot more experience with Wikidata and doing Wikipedia edits, something they told me was that uh, linking with primary sources is a bit more tricky. And hence, I'm sort of asking this question again, if that's something that's possible.
Yeah, no, it's possible. In my opinion, in Wikidata, it's perfectly possible. And there are also cases, for example, in which an archive preserves the most authoritative, for example, date of birth, date of death, because there is like the birth certificate, the death certificate, and cases like this in which the archival record is also the most authoritative information in comparison with other sources. So I've seen in Wikidata users using directly the death certificate or the birth certificate to source a statement, and it's perfectly fine.
Okay,
This
that's great then. Sorry.
Yeah. No, thanks. This is Kira speaking. I would say just like to piggyback on what Camillo was saying is that
Yeah.
in my experience, which is not as deep in Wikidata, but Wikidata is a little bit more open to those primary sources than Wikipedia
Yeah.
is. Wikipedia is like somebody like instantly will delete it almost, but Wikidata seems a little bit more open to that in my experience.
Yeah, also Camillo speaking, also because since Wikidata has also a much wider notability, this means that in Wikidata there are also a lot of people that are notable that are in fact poorly described by sources, like people for which there are not a lot of secondary sources that you can use, like for the people that are notable in Wikipedia and that are fewer. So in Wikidata, there are much more people that, since you don't have many sources to use, also it becomes very important to use primary sources. And there is Alan that wants to speak.
Yes, I just want to add on to the point that it makes sense to use the primary source, let's say a birth certificate, for example, but it's also important that the archives themselves, you have your a catalog, you have a metadata of and not just the image of the birth certificate, so that
Yeah.
you can correspondingly link it and use it as a source properly. So what this means is that having a metadata or having a structured data of the particular primary source, can be a manuscript, can be a birth certificate, to be used as a source is a fundamental step in order for it to be very credible and also accessible as well. Because sometimes, when it comes to the manuscript, it's a different language, or the handwriting is very different. It's very hard for users to go back to the primary source and to see for themselves and able to verify.
This is Datri. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, so the archives I work at also we have these descriptions and metadata, and we've licensed them under CC by SA as well. So the and like also like what Camilo mentioned, there's a lot of reason to do this because we also find a lot of women within these collections who don't necessarily have a Wikipedia page, and hence when people speak about more popular scientific figures, they sort of miss out on mentioning the women just because there's not much to trace. Not there's not a good way to trace them. Um, but I think I'm trying to figure out what Kamita said about how if you can cite primary sources, but you'll also have to have a secondary source with it. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, possibly yes, but Camillo speaking, but not necessarily in the sense that um, if there is also a secondary source to confirm, it's better, but I would say that it's not necessary. Um, and I would add that, yeah, maybe the most tricky thing about using primary sources is that, as also Alan said, if it's since the source must be publicly available, it should be, for example, if it is like the death certificate, also a link to the digitization, and not only like the chef number or something like that, because then it would require the user to contact the archive or go personally to the archive, but it should be possibly like a document that is anyway available online so that the verification is easy.
Got it. So stronger metadata equals, I guess, more
Yeah,
validity. Okay,
yeah.
great. Thank you.
So, more or less, I've shown what I wanted to show regarding editing. Maybe I can just show, I also showed how to use as ref to copy references. Maybe the only one thing that I can show in 1 minute is about the issue of conflicting values. So I share again my screen and I will go to um, this date of birth, two dates of birth, all in best rank. And I will run it and hope it runs quickly, which it does. And I will take this one. Adela Vukic, Bosnian paper. Here I can also, for example, show you the cleanup tool that you just click run cleanup and removes many things that are unnecessary in the item as of now. You see here the mix and match gadget, which allows you to quickly match things from mix and match directly into Wikidata, very useful. In order for it to work, you should be logged in mix and match, by the way. So this is a correct match, this with the Wikibase, and I will just click plus, and it will be added to the item. But I'm here because here we have 30th of December vs 24th of May, and 24th of May doesn't have a reference, whilst 30th of December has as reference English Wikipedia, which is still not ideal. And also we have the same issue with the date of death, which are also quite different, 28th of October vs 2nd of March. So here I should have some kind of biographical dictionary. Let me check. Yeah, dictionary, in this case, this one only has the year, which is a pity. But I also have Artists of the World, which is paywalled, but we have access to the Wikipedia library. So let me use the Wikipedia library and access. If you don't know the Wikipedia library, it is a very, very good resource that you have, yeah, I agree, yes, that you have and that allows you to access resources that can be useful for you to write articles on Wikipedia, also to, for example, add data to Wikidata. So I am accessing this on the Wikipedia library. Let me just arrive there. Adela Bervukic, search. Yeah. AKL, perfect, this one. So AKL, which is a very good source, says 24th of May, 2nd of March. So I have my source, 2nd of March, 24th of May, and it says Tuzla as place of birth, Sarajevo as place of death. So Tuzla, Sarajevo, painter, yes, painter. Yeah, and female also. So female. Okay, this is already quite good, so I can reload and I can remove the Wikipedia references for place of birth and place of death that are not necessary anymore. Then I would like to make a last check about why Wikipedia thinks something different. So Wikipedia here doesn't mention any source, and I should check this, but in principle, as of now, I think that AKL is more authoritative, so I will use this gadget to mark this as preferred, because this is the source considered most trustworthy. I will do it for date of birth, I will do it for date of death, and in this way, I removed the constraint violation because there is one value that is preferred in comparison with the other that is normal rank. The yellow means that the source is Wikipedia, by the way, the light yellow. And so I have solved this case of conflicting date of birth and date of death values, putting one value as preferred. Of course, this was without source, so I found the source that I accessed through the Wikipedia library, and I put this as preferred. And now the issue is solved. And yeah, so I think I've shown enough, and I would hand back to Alan for the news about Wikidata. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Camillo. Thank you for your attention. Yes, so let me quickly do the last part of the presentation. Let me go to the presentation deck. Yes, see if you can see my screen. Okay,
Yes.
can see, yeah? Okay,
yes,
so
definitely.
in the last final minutes, what's next? We don't have much time, so let me just quickly run through about Wikidata and AI, which is a very trendy topic nowadays. Everything's about AI, the buzz is AI. From an institutional perspective, you're always in the situation, most institutions that I've talked to and conversed with, they're in a situation where, okay, the head of the department, the director would always think about how do we want to implement AI in the kind of in what we have, right? So that then can be able to make it more accessible. I also talk very quickly about Wikidata mobile editing, as well as a showcase of two Wikibases. One is the Snark Wikibase, which is really relevant to archives. But if there's no time to complete this, the slides will be is already in Commons, and the links are all there. So since 1.5 to 2 years ago, Wikimedia Deutschland has embarked on a Wikidata embedding project, trying to see how the knowledge graph can be more accessible to free and open AI projects out there. And we have been working internally in the project team, as well as collaborating with some partners on artificial intelligence, how to simplify access to open data for open source projects. The first thing that we have launched, or call more or less launched since last year, was the Wikidata vector database. As we have seen over the past 1.5 or 2 hours, Wikidata is a knowledge graph in itself, and all the items are connected to each other in Wikidata. However, because it's a knowledge graph, semantically it's very hard for large language models or small language models to access the data of Wikidata and to transpose it into their projects. So only companies with a lot of resources are able to do this. So what Wikimedia Deutschland, what we have done is to create a vector database where we transform the knowledge graph to vectorize it, so that users will be able to make queries on Wikidata using natural language, right? For example, if you want to, just now we learned from the Sparkle query or the query service, that you want to identify or you want to find out who's Maya Angelou's spouse, you will have to go into Sparkle to look for Maya Angelou and then look for spouse, and then you go to the Maya Angelou's item and then look for spouse. But after we vectorize it, you will be able to ask who is Maya Angelou's spouse, make the query to the vector database, and then they will return you an item from Wikidata, right? So this makes it more accessible to everyone. So on top of that, we also have a model context protocol, or MCP, for example, right? An MCP is like a USB connector for projects that use automated AI to generate their workflow. So it is a standardized protocol for connecting AI clients to tools. It gives AI access to functions and external resources like APIs, files, and databases. It's easy to set up. I will show you a quick demo later to support the AI clients. The outcome is, the overview is that, if you ask what is the weather like today in Berlin, and then the output of the query is, is 22 degrees in Berlin today. Obviously it's not, it's like, I think, -2, -3, -5. And so the engine itself will, go into the weather MCP, and then it will gives you the output, and then the results of the query is this. So for Wikidata in itself, we have created our model context protocol where it enables the AI engines to make requests and send data, and then from this MCP we can get the results from our vector databases, or even from Wikidata knowledge graph, or it can also come from the Sparkle query service. So there are some very useful use cases. You can generate Sparkle, for example, if you want to do it without learning Sparkle, right? It also enables users to have question answering, generate answers grounded in the Wikidata structured data, cross-database integration to use Wikidata's identifier as a hub linking external databases, and fact-checking, because fact-checking is something that is that's very big now, to fight against misinformation and disinformation, because large language models, they hallucinate, right? So, and you should never trust what they say or the results 100%. It's always good to fact check. And of course, it also allows continuous research conversations. It enables follow-up questions and ongoing exploration. I would like to see if I can share a quick one example that I just was playing around. Where is my screen share again? Screen share. Built-in display. I'm sorry. Chrome. Let me put it here. Okay. So this is an example that let me see, I can do this properly. This multiple screen. Okay, this example I was working on just now. For example, I make a query using chat Mistral.ai. If you go to this particular platform, you will not be able to have the Wikidata inside by default. So what we should do is to connect the Wikidata MCP into it. Let's say if you come to connectors, you can come to add connector, and then you can put a custom MCP connector, and MCP. The Wikidata MCP is actually, let me share this tab, is here in this page here. And then all you need to do is copy and paste this link here back into this page. you just put Wikidata, and then you paste it here, and then there's no need to authenticate, and then you create. I can't create now because it's already inside. You can see my connectors Wikidata is here, right? And I did a quick check just now, right? For example, I said, okay, who is Frida Kahlo? And then the language model just thought about it for 3 seconds, and then came out with this output. And they also have some sources here. You see the sources. They took the sources from the main official web page, Britannica, Wikipedia, and so on and so forth. But if I don't really, trust what it's saying, I can always put verify with Wikidata, and then it will run into a Wikidata search items a query. As you can see here, a Sparkle query, and then the response will be that Frida Kahlo is confirmed in Wikidata as a Mexican painter born on this day, this time. This day and this year, and is known for her deeply personal and symbolic self-portraits. You can also ask another question. I mean, right? For example, what is the capital? I'm just doing this very quickly because there's running out of time, of Germany, for example, right? And the response given is the capital of Germany is Berlin, and I said, okay, let's verify with Wikidata. I'm able to do this because I've already added the Wikidata MCP into the platform itself, and then before it makes the query, it will ask me whether or not I want to allow it to search. I say, okay, I'll allow it, always allow. And then it would query the Wikidata knowledge graph, and then it will come back and say the capital city of Germany, capital of Germany is Berlin. So this is something that we have been working on for some time, and then we have recently launched this. If you want to know more about it, the links are inside there. It's quite fun because we keep it free and open. We want to encourage different AI projects, free and open source AI projects who are working with different GLAM institutions or government institutions to, hey, make use of what we have, right? Our knowledge graph, we have vectorized it so it becomes more accessible. So if there's any GLAM institutions here who have in the pipeline thinking of, okay, some AI projects, I'm sure there are AI projects, right, somewhere in different departments, let me know. I'll be very happy to step in and to support, as part of the partnership work that I'm doing, and to see how we can collaborate and how to support your AI projects. And of course, we have our Wikidata mobile editing experience that we have been working on over the past, I think, 6 months or 8 months or so to improve the editing experience on mobile, because we know that making edits on Wikidata via your tablet or your mobile phone is usually quite a pain to do previously, and our colleagues in the development team, technical team, they have prioritized this as one of their key tasks to do. So then we have already launched a prototype since last June. I'm sure I think there's going to be another mobile editing course organized by Art and Feminism, right? Am I right, Kira? Going to take place soon, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Workshop coming up? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's upcoming. So just stay tuned for that if you want to be able to see and enjoy how to make edit statements on Wikidata via tablet and mobile phone. To us, we think this is important because, especially in regions that are outside of Western Europe and North America, where the network infrastructure, the LAN internet infrastructure is not so pervasive, and there are many members of the community in different parts of where they stay, the regions where they stay. They do not have internet access, but they have got data access. So then they may not even afford a computer or laptop, for example. So some of them only has their mobile phone and they depend on it. So that's why we want to make editing more accessible to different members of the community, and also, support them as well. Yeah. So this is the reason why we have been doing that. And yeah, we just want to share this. I just want to share this update with everyone. Okay, so there's we talked about Wikibase earlier on, right? Wikibase is extremely important because we shown the link open data web and how everything can be connected to each other, especially if you are an archive, which I believe you are. That's why we are here today, or academic institutions, or you have your own little thing that you want to do and you want to share with everyone. You want to have your own little mini Wikidata, but you're not sure of how to do it. So I've shared a use case here. This is the semantic name authority repository for the Welsh archives. It's quite comprehensive. There are 163,000 items in this Wikibase instance. As you can see, it looks like Wikidata. Excuse me, but it's not Wikidata, right? It's a Wikibase instance. It's a own little mini Wikidata. If I just choose, go into here, you can explore the people, in the collections. If I click on this, then it will bring you to a query on the Wikibase instance as well, and then show you the images. I think this is very useful, especially if you are working in a different language, right? Because not always you're working in English is your main language, or the major languages you're working this major languages. Sometimes you work with some small minority languages in the archives, and you may wish to also have this have your own little mini Wikidata. And what is also interesting is that the items that you have on your little mini Wikidata can also be connected and linked to the items on Wikidata as well, the same items on Wikidata. So let me see if I can. Okay, so I need to log in, to create. But yeah, I think you get a point. Let me see. I got 3 more minutes. Whew. Let me share this tab. Okay, the last one that is I want to share very interesting is called the EU Knowledge Graph. It is actually the Wikibase Suite instance. Just now was a cloud instance. It's hosted by in the air, by Wikimedia Deutschland. And this is a Wikibase Suite instance, a self-hosted instance. It's called the EU Knowledge Graph. It is actually a project commissioned by the European Commission. It contains structured information about different institutions, countries, capital cities, rivers names within the European Union. So this is the back end of it, and the front end is this Cohesio homepage, which actually shows you how and where the European funds are being distributed, where the money is being spent. For example, if it's in Sweden, in this case, there's this particular project here, all this information, the back end of it is from the EU Knowledge Graph, which is a Wikibase Suite instance. Yeah, so I just want to share this interesting updates with everyone, and I think that's it. Thank you very much. Whew, just right on time.
This is Kira speaking. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you so much, Camillo. Like, what an incredible, I know it was long, so thank you all for sticking around. It's so much information. We do have recorded because I know I'm going to have to go back to some of this stuff, so we'll share that out. I do want to share super quickly that we do have some upcoming art and feminism programming coming up that, of course, we hope that you'll join us for. As Alan mentioned, we are going to be doing a session in partnership with Wikimedia Botswana, and that is going to be on February 20th. And that is going to be about editing on Wiki or editing on mobile. And then we also have a session coming up later next month on the 25th, which is going to be a case study from Michigan State University. So what they've done is it's specifically about comics and Wikidata. So that should be a pretty cool opportunity just to see how a library has been working with Wikidata. So we definitely hope to see you at both or one of those events coming up. Again, I want to thank Camillo, and Alan so much for this incredible facilitation and workshop. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, this will be recorded. We'll send out that link. We'll get it on our YouTube. There is going to be a super quick survey when you get out of the Zoom that we're hopeful that you'll participate in. And again, just thank you so much. And we hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I am going to go ahead and close the Zoom in 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.